Hello and welcome to Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business. Joining me today is Annie Dormuth, who is Alberta Director with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. Thanks for joining us today, Annie.
Yeah, of course. Always great to be on the show.
All right, well, let's talk about reopening plans here in Alberta. We have gone to stage 2, and we have been in stage 2 for a little while now of the reopening. How have the small business community in the province responded to that? Obviously quite pleased with that move.
Yeah, well, definitely a lot of excitement, especially for those businesses that have really pretty much been closed for the entire year or more than a year now. I'm, thinking back to March of 2020. So yes, definitely it was great news for businesses, especially in the arts, entertainment, recreation, and fitness industries that were finally allowed to reopen their doors to in-person services. I did a rough calculation, and it's pretty staggering number when you consider that these businesses, since the early days of the pandemic or when the pandemic started, were only open for 150 days. That is a staggering amount of number of days that they were only allowed to be open for. And keep in mind, those open days, they were still under some pretty strict restrictions as well. So definitely welcome news to many of those businesses, and including those, of course, in the hospitality industries as well, with indoor dining now being allowed back in the province and things like that. But I would still describe the entire mood of small businesses across the province of one as cautious optimism. This is, of course, not the first reopening plan that these businesses have seen. And, small businesses still face a longer road to recovery, and there's still a lot of uncertainty that kind of fills the air right now.
Yeah, what was in terms of your latest or most recent numbers, Annie? What was the percentage of businesses that were at normal sales?
Yeah, so we're going to be tracking these numbers quite closely because I think they will tell a story of whether or not consumer confidence is coming back and coming back at a a high speed. So right now, and these numbers reflect June survey results, 70% of businesses are fully open in Alberta, small businesses, and yet only 40% are making normal sales for this time of year. So there is quite a bit of a gap there between the number that are fully open and those that are actually back to normal operations and back to normal sales. In addition to that, we are seeing a greater concern for consumer confidence, which does increase again in those hardest hit industries such as arts, recreation, and fitness industries. When you take into consideration that, for more than a year now, governments have pretty much, said that these businesses are unsafe and not to go there.
Yeah.
So I do think that these hardest hit industries will face a bit of a longer economic recovery, just given the fact that they were severely impacted since March of 2020. And again, I think that they may have a little bit of a tougher time of getting their consumers back.
Now we're getting close to the stage 3 in Alberta reopening. That will basically open up the province back to sort of semi state of normal, going back over a year and a bit. 70% of first dose vaccinations are needed. We're at, I think, as we speak, we were at 68.7% of the population 12 and over. So we're really close, and some projections say that we might hit that 70% level on Thursday, which would mean 2 weeks later, everything opens up, which would mean Canada Day. How important is that target to be met for small businesses to kind of like really open the door?
Well, of course, with any kind of stage, it is welcome news anytime that we enter those stages. Stage 3 isn't fully defined yet. I mean, they do say a full removal of all public health orders, but lots of questions still remain, such as mandatory masking, whether or not that will be. And again, it's not fully defined stage 3. So of course, getting back to full operations is something that small businesses do look for, as well as ensuring that, of course, their customers and their customers, clientele and staff remain safe, of course, throughout that period as well. So we do await for more news about that, and
Yeah.
hopefully more details on what that full stage 3 will look like will be coming in the next week or so.
Well, and great. It's great that we have this happy news and positive news right now, but let's not, I guess, forget the decimation that's taken place in the year or so, right? And how many businesses have fallen and never to get back up again. Also, the debt load on businesses that continue to go forward. Can you talk a little bit about the impact this past year and a bit has had on Alberta small businesses?
Yeah, small businesses in Alberta and across, of course, across the entire country have been severely impacted by prolonged restrictions. Recent survey results back, as early as June here that I was just looking at today, do show, still a very worrisome picture for small businesses. 60% are concerned about the survival of their business. Well, repaying back the amount of COVID-19 related debt is one of their top concerns and worries. It's a staggering amount. I think it was our May estimate that showed the average debts that a small business has taken on due to COVID-19 is $246,000, which again is a staggering amount. In addition to that, we're still seeing about 1 in 5, 19% of Alberta small businesses still actively considering closing or claiming bankruptcy right now. And that is while we are in kind of this middle of the reopening plan.
Yeah.
It's a slight decrease from our estimates in January of 2021, but do again paint a very worrisome picture for the state of these small businesses. And I think that that's why, thinking small business every day, supporting our local businesses is going to be critical as we approach the summer here, as more people go out. Just think about supporting those local businesses. And if you have any questions or concerns about revisiting some of these businesses that again were primarily closed for the entire year, I suggest you reach out to the business owner. They can walk you through, the protocols that are in place. I went back to my local gym last week, and I thought I'd never be more happy to see weights again. But have those types of conversations with the business owner. They're doing their part to, of course, keep you and their customers safe, and they'd be more than happy to answer any questions or uncertainties you may have about returning to some of these businesses.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks very much, Annie, for joining us again.
Of course, anytime, Mario.
All right, super. That's Annie Dormuth, who is Alberta Director, Canadian Federation of Independent Business. This has been Business Insider with YYC Business. I'm your host, Mario Toneguzzi. Thanks for joining us today.